Welcome to Beyond the Veil Stories. Before we begin the story, I'd love to give a big thank you to RoseBlack2222 for letting me use their story. The link to their profile and story will be in the description. Now it's time for It's Friday the 13th, and I met a witch at my retail job. Let's see what's beyond the veil. It's September, which means it's nearly my favorite season, fall. Yes, the scorching heat is at last cooling down to a nice middling temperature until the winter chills set in. All the back-to-school supplies have given way to autumn decor, such as fake pumpkins, rubber masks, lawn inflatables, and monster animatronics. Speaking of back-to-school, a bonus is seeing fewer children during the week. Look, I don't have anything against kids, provided they are a minimal distance of 50 feet from me, but when they are running around screaming while their parents have this vacant look in their eyes, that's when I have a problem. If you happen to disagree, spend a few years working retail at Walmart like I have, and see if you don't change your tune. In fairness, that's only scratching the surface of the problems going on in those stores. As bad as that can be, it's harmless most of the time, only ever going into the make me want to rip my hair out in frustration territory. I can't say the same about what happened today. I work in customer service. Being Friday, things were busier than usual for us. Our manager, Dell, is the superstitious type, and he was adamant that we keep our eyes peeled for trouble since it's also the 13th. While hectic, nothing out of the ordinary happened. That is, until we got one particular customer. My coworker, Steve, and I were holding down the fort, trying to help customers as best we could. I was currently having my ear talked off on the phone. I've been a loyal shopper at Walmart for over 30 years. He's already mentioned this several times. I understand, sir. Things used to be great there, until your generation decided to screw things up. I'm sorry you feel that way. Is there anything we can do to make it up to you? He went on a tirade that I wasn't paying much attention to since it had nothing to do with the conversation. From what I remember, it was about those damn Democrats running this country into the ground, several bigoted statements against minorities, how prayer should be back in schools, and that certain people need to go back where they came from. I should mention he was insistent about how not racist he was. I think there may have also been something in there against how communists have infiltrated the government. The call dropped, making me momentarily grateful upper management hadn't sent anyone out to fix the phones. Thank Christ, I breathed, putting the phone down. Tough call, Steve asked, unwrapping a piece of gum. Yup, I feel you on that. Any plans after work? I'm going to be watching a horror movie. Which one? It's called Teak Teak. Is that Japanese? Yeah, it's an urban legend about a girl who became a ghost after her legs were cut off by a train, and there are 2 movies about it. Steve popped the gum in his mouth. Sounds pretty cool, he said while chewing. Do you want to come over and watch them? Maybe. At that moment, Dell came over, a panicked look on his face. Is something wrong? I asked. Upper management is here, he replied breathlessly. What? We exclaimed in unison. Someone getting carts said he's parked outside. I knew something bad was going to happen today. I just knew it. All things considered, Dell is decent at his job, but when he gets overwhelmed, it's like watching a caffeinated hamster running around its cage. He stopped and took a deep breath. Okay, we can do this. Be vigilant. Steve, spit out that gum. Dell went away to check on the other departments. Rolling his eyes, Steve pulled out one of the trash baskets we keep behind the counter, spitting his gum into it. There tends to be a disconnect between corporate and those who have to interact with people face to face. As such, inspections tend to go as follows. They tell us to jump, and if we come back down without their permission, we get reprimanded. Our strategy is to remain as scarce as possible. Usually this works. Today was another story. Things were going steady, all things considered, then the horde came. Normally, these seem further into the holiday season. However, it seems that Dell was right about how Friday the 13th would be affecting things. I was playing Pokemon Go on my phone when Steve nudged me with his elbow. I glanced up, seeing a herd of customers who weren't too happy based on their expressions. They seemed ready to take their anger out on us, hence why we refer to them as hordes. "Ah shit," I murmured. Then she came. Looks of surprise were coming over people's faces. Someone was pushing their way to the front. We craned our necks, trying to spot who was trying to cut their way to the front. To our confusion, a pointy black hat became visible among the crowd. Attached to it and emerging to the front was an old lady in a baggy black dress with a long hook nose. People tried to tell her off. She gave them such a fierce stink, they backed away instantly and dispersed. Then she came up to the counter. "Hello, ma'am," Steve said. "Is there something we can help dash?" Reaching into her pocket, she pulled something out, slamming it down on the counter. It was a cat collar. Then she threw a $100 gift card beside it. A few seconds of silence passed, then Steve asked, "Do you want to make a return? I want more than that for the trouble this store has given me." She explained that the adjuster was faulty and that the collar nearly choked her cat. I tried calling and it just kept ringing. "Apologies, ma'am. It's been a hectic day. We'll do what we can to make this up to you." "Is that so?" A grin crept up her face, showing rows of deep yellow, misshapen, blocky teeth. "I think I deserve a little extra for all my trouble. Give me this gift card for free, and we'll call things even." The thing about the customer always being right is that it goes off a cliff if the store's bottom line might be affected. "Well, I need to check with my manager if I am allowed to do that." Steve went away to call Dell. Meanwhile, sending a growing tension, I attempted to diffuse it. "Hey, great costume," I told the old lady. "Are you getting ready for Halloween early?" She seemed confused. "What costume?" "The one you're wearing. You're dressed as a witch, right?" Her eyes narrowed. "I'm not dressed like I am a witch." "Oh, I see, my bad." She relaxed a little. "I do have a lot of preparations to make for the upcoming holiday now that you mention it." "Where's your friend?" "Sorry about that. Our manager is busy." "I can't reach him," Steve said, returning from his call. "I'm normally not supposed to do this without permission, but I can help you out this one time." The old lady seemed satisfied with that response. Steve was about to activate the gift card when we heard someone speaking with Dell. "Everything is up to standard so far. Which way is customer service again?" "This way, sir." With Dell was our distract manager, Edmund, who looks a lot like Kevin O'Leary. He's the kind of guy who thinks the company standard should be rigidly enforced. In short, doing the opposite of what he says would likely improve store experience. They saw what was happening and came over. "Good afternoon, miss." Dell smiled and told the old lady, "I hope your needs are being met." "Yes, I suppose they are." "These two are taking care of something for me," she replied, gesturing at us. "At least some people can do something right in this dump." "Well, it's nice to hear from a customer that our employees are on top of things. Out of curiosity, what are they helping you with?" Steve was tapping his fingers on the counter. He only did that when he was nervous. I could tell he was thinking, "Please don't mention the gift card." She did exactly that, prompting Steve to curse under his breath. At the mention of it, Edmund decided to get involved. "Now hold on," he said to the woman. "How much did you pay for that collar?" "15. "And how much is the gift card you want worth?" $100. Edmund looked at Steve. "You authorized this without permission?" Steve may as well have been a deer in headlights. "What were you thinking?" Edmund chastised him. "I was just trying to do the right thing, Dash," Steve replied before being cut off. "The right thing within reason. I thought you would have figured that out by now." The old lady interjected. "Wait a moment. Are you saying I won't get my gift card?" "Yes, that's what it means, sorry to say." Her eyes erupted with anger. "I came out here and waited all this time. Not accustomed to dealing with other human beings," Edmund disregarded her, trying to pass her on to Dell. She didn't take too kindly to that. You respect your elders when they are talking to you. Edmund ignored her and was about to walk away. The woman crossed her arms. If that's what you want, we'll play hardball. I will give you one chance to change your mind about the gift card, or there will be hell to pay. His response conveyed he wasn't the least bit intimidated. The answer is still no. She pointed a shaking finger at him. I warned you. Suddenly, her eyes rolled in the back of her head, and she began chanting. I think she's having an episode, Edmund snorted. That seemed to be the case until the lights started flickering. An uneasy feeling worked its way up my back. Then all hell broke loose. Edmund was talking to Dell about his new car when, while cackling, the woman rose into the air, her eyes filling with inky darkness and her teeth becoming red and pointed. I'll teach you to deny me what I am owed. We stared, mouths agape, as things were rising around her and the lights were flickering. Several patrons pulled out their phones to attempt recording her. She wasn't having it. Different colored whips swirled around her. They made groaning noises. These must have been the souls of her previous victims. Pointing her finger at our Halloween display caused the souls to go into them. The lawn decorations came to life, fueled by the power of the dark arts. Next thing we knew, they were off their shelves and going after people in the store. There was so much happening at once it's hard to process. The fake jack-o'-lanterns latched onto those trying to get footage of the event. An inflatable Frankenstein monster and mummy were picking people up and fighting each other with them. Lastly, a Grim Reaper was flying around, decapitating people. Heads flew and blood squirted everywhere, all while that wicked ancient woman was laughing as if this was the funniest thing to ever unfold. Several security officers who were at least 30 pounds overweight tried shooting at the old lady while she was distracted. Not even bothering to glance at them, she made several lights fall on their heads. Then they dropped to the floor, dead. Nearly shitting ourselves, we hid under our desk for cover. Now, do you see what happens when I am denied what I am owed? Edmund replied, voice trembling. Okay, I'm sorry. You'll get your gift card. It's too late. You had your chance. Now you'll pay. We heard him run away crying, repeating a bunch of curse words to himself. Suddenly, our desk broke off from the floor, flying through the air at unfathomable speed. Along this, several large and heavy objects were sailing through the air. Then there were several distant thuds. She's blocked the exits, someone shouted in panic. We're all gonna die, another person shrieked. Look at them, squirming like the pitiful ants they are, the woman sneered, going after them. Seeing where she was going, we chose to go the opposite way under the assumption it would be safer. Help. Dell's voice came from somewhere amidst toppled shelves. We were able to lift the one he was trapped under high enough for him to squeeze himself out. Thanks, guys. Damn. This Friday, the 13th, you do everything you can to prepare, and you still get blindsided. We need to hide somewhere, I said. Let's head to the break room. Yeah, once she is Edmund, she'll probably calm down. Her next words proved things weren't going to be that simple. Where did you go, you sniveling little snake? There's only one person she could be referring to. If you don't come out now, I will destroy this entire store. Not being one to think of the well-being of others, Edmund stayed hidden. What do we do now? Steve asked, panicking. Dell slapped him across the face. Pull yourself together, man. We survived 4 Black Fridays together. We can survive this. You too. Find Edmund and drag his no-good ass back here. You're staying here? I said, shocked. His eyes lit with a sharp determination. I'll be dealing with that crazy old lady. How? With superb customer service. Take this. He handed us his phone. We went off to search for Edmund, having no luck. While doing so, we saw that the curse had spread, bringing other objects to life. Several people lay in the kitchen aisle, with knives sticking out of them in a pool of blood. One person's hand was in a blender. Several of our coworkers were sitting huddled in pools of blood, hugging their knees to their chests, rocking back and forth. Another person lay in the middle of the appliance aisle, with a waffle iron clamped over his face. The disturbing part was it still smelled kind of nice, like fresh waffles. "This is fucked on so many degrees," I said, wondering how we had managed to survive up to this point and worried that could change at any time. "I'm with you. I'm applying to Target after this. Where do you think Edmund could be hiding?" Steve asked. "I don't know." A realization hit me as we reached the clothing section. "Wait, I said to Steve's puzzlement. "The phone." "Oh." Using Dell's phone, we called Edmund's number. Instantly, ringing sounded nearby. We realized it was coming from a changing room. Steve kicked the door open, showing Edmund huddled in the corner, fumbling in a panic to decline the call. We tried pulling him outside. "No! She's after me!" he whined, clinging to the door frame as we were yanking on his legs. "It's a bloodbath out here because you had to be a fucking douche, so take some responsibility," Steve screamed. With a final pull, the weight shift sent us crashing into a nearby display of horror and pumpkin shirts. We got to our feet. Edmund did as well. A "They Live" shirt showing the aliens covered his head. Snatching it off, he threw it to the floor. "How dare you," he snarled. "I am your superior. You'll end up in the prison showers when I am through dash." Before I was aware of what was happening, my fist was thrusting forward, connecting with his nose. I can't decide which gave me more pleasure, feeling the bones in his nose break, or seeing blood gushing from his nostrils. Whichever, it will be a while before anything tops the satisfaction I was experiencing then. Edmund staggered back from the blow, pulling down several shirt racks as he fell backward. There was an expression of disbelief, as if some natural order had been violated, and his mind was trying to make sense of it. My eyes went from him to my fist. Something to note about me is I am a non-confrontational person to a fault. Therefore, of all the stuff we'd witnessed that day, what I just did stood out as being especially unbelievable. "Holy shit, dude. I didn't think you had that in you." Neither did I. We dragged Edmund to the front where that elderly woman had Dell by the throat. "They'll be back soon. Just give them a little longer." "It's too late. We had an agreement." Her fingers squeezed his neck, making his eyes bulge. "Stop!" I shouted. Her head whipped in our direction. Then her lips curled upward as she was lowering herself and Dell. "Well, you made it after all," she told us, and then said to Dell, "I guess you managed to survive by the skin of your teeth. Consider yourself lucky." She tossed him aside. He hit the wall, sliding down it with a groan. Steve went to check on him. It was now me, Edmund, and the old woman. Her gaze alone was piercing, and her smile only added to its iciness. "Your manager cut me quite the deal. Not only do I get $400 worth of gift cards now, I also get to do as I please with this slimy little worm." Those words seemed to snap Edmund back to the reality of the situation. His breath hitched, and he tried in vain to flee. The elderly woman sent her souls after him, which wrapped his body. He was carried back, thrashing. "Please don't kill me," he begged through tears. "I'll do anything." "Don't worry, I won't kill you." Edmund's teary eyes filled with optimism. "No, I have a better use for you," the old woman said. "What occurred next is something that's forever seared into our memories." She raised her finger, lifting Edmund. The inky darkness shot out of the elderly lady's eyes, spreading out and wrapping around Edmund. Screams erupted from within it, and we could hear the sounds of bones breaking as they were compressed and rearranged. The woman reabsorbed the inkiness, revealing what became of Edmund. A loofah on a stick matching the color of his suit fell into her open palm. I could have sworn I saw it quiver. The implications of Edmund's fate caused me to shudder. I believe that wraps everything up. Let this be a lesson. Never try to cheat me. The woman was about to leave "What are you?" I blurted. Her eyes met mine. Then she grinned again. "I already told you. I'm a witch." She threw something made of glass down, shattering it and causing a green cloud of smoke to appear in the store. When it cleared, she was nowhere to be seen. I can't begin to convey the clusterfuckness of trying to explain what happened to the authorities. The cops around here aren't into doing their job when it counts, so they as well as chalked everything up to an act of God. In any case, that store will be closed for a while, which means we have to go through the pain of job surfing. Oh well, we can check out those Teak films in the meantime. I'll conclude with this. Never mess with a witch, especially when it's Friday the 13th. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.